What is the key to writing the heaviest riffs possible? Well, you just need to grab some of that unhealed trauma that you've been burying and just... Today I'll be showing you 3 methods that I use to approach writing heavy riffs. So the first way that I normally approach songwriting and writing a riff in general is I have an idea in my head about how I want things to sound. I don't know what the guitar notes are going to be, but I know roughly where I want them to be. So for example, a riff that I've been wanting to write for this Reverie record, and it's kind of like a big screech at the start. It's going 1, 2, 3, 4, dun 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 dun. And that's basically the idea in my head, as best as I can describe it with my mouth. so it's all about reverse engineering what you hear in your head into reality. So we're going to try and recreate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look on Splice to see if we can find a juicy screecher. We can obviously mess with the sound after we get it in, but it has to be full enough. Now that is lethal. Oh my god. That is horrendous. That is a horror sci-fi SFX creature scream. That is insane. Should we just change genre and just... That is lethal, bro. You could have that in the background though. 100%. Trying to shape the sound to get it exactly how you want is difficult with the samples. Kind of imagining the tonality to be around 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. If you ever need the secret formula to girth, it's 0, 1, 2, 3. I really want the pick attack here, so this is going to be the essential part about making this really good. Right, now we just need to chop this up a bit. So by chopping it, we're going to tighten up the playing. We're going to tighten up the cuts. We're also going to shift. Here you can see in the waveform, I start ever so slightly sooner than when it actually starts. So we're going to move my waveform, and then I'm going to the waveform at the same time as the bass guitar. Maybe just slightly after it, and then what we're going to do is fade it out to the point where the bass stops. Now that's a little cheat there for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these takes because, again, we're only demoing. It doesn't fucking matter. So on the second go around, I want a big open. And then we'll track it again. Okay, now I'm just going to position that and fade it into the existing riff, which I hope will sound good. So let's have a listen back through. I'd say that is pretty close to what I had in my head. So we've achieved what we wanted to achieve there. So now we're going to try and write another riff for this song in a different method, which I like to call the Noodle Method. As I'm sure you've probably guessed, you just kind of noodle on your guitar until you stumble onto some sort of either lick or pattern or scale that sounds particularly good. And you take that as your starting point to build a riff from. Let's give that a go and see if we can noodle away and come up with something for this particular section coming up. One thing I'll say is that sometimes in order to spark the creativity, you have to listen back to the whole song so that like you can hear where the song is going. Okay. So what about something like... So it'd be... Oh, we could go even up to fret 4, guys. That is pretty extreme. We're vibing. Eating that Chockin' and Brickley. Chockin' and Brickley, boys. All writing must come to a halt for the chicken, boys. Always eat your broccoli. Mmm. It's metal as fuck. Okay, so that's kind of my noodle riff. Let's see if we can improve on that. Mess around with some cool chopper effect. So I'm just going to hit like a clash note on the guitar. That'll do. Let's listen. Fuck me. Okay, so there's a riff written based on my Noodle Method. Now, let's not forget that just because you've written something doesn't mean you have to use it. So, for example, I've just written that riff using the Noodle Method, and it sounded great when I wrote it, and there's probably a place for it somewhere, but I don't think it's this particular song. So I'll graveyard that riff, and then I'll perhaps come back to it in another song, or I'll bounce that riff on its own as like a demo. I'll save it somewhere so that I can remember it. So the last way that I'm going to show you how I approach writing riffs and writing sections of songs is by going with a rhythm first approach. Now this works for me because the first instrument I learned how to play was actually the drums, and I feel very comfortable listening to my inner sort of drum kit, if you will, and imagining where I want things to play out. So what I'll tend to do, which you've probably seen it in the way that I write the riffs previously, is I like to finish out the drum pattern, then put the bass guitar notes in, and then put the guitar in after. That's a method that I use quite a lot. So we're going to try that here. Again, we need to listen to the song in context and think about where we want the song to go from here, and we're going to try writing with the drums and bass first. See, I have a beat in mind for the chorus. Okay, let's write the chorus beat. So what I'm hearing for the chorus sort of like beat and guitar riff is da 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 boom boom cha boom 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 cha boom 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 cha boom boom da 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 don 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 da 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 don don. Just lots of don 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 don. So if we're going 1 2 3 4 da 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 da, something like that. Offbeat there. Okay. I'm hearing the note, bun, dun, whatever note that is, because my music theory is fucking crap. No. G. I knew that. Did it. And then we'll go. So that's where my lowest note is. We could go down to the A. Now, that is the bass. This will definitely change as I pick up that guitar and start matching those bass notes with the root notes. I'll probably think of something cool to do. So let's try that. Now I want to add some extra layers. So I'm going to add the sample from the beginning, the Screechy Haunted sample, into the chorus, I think. So let's write some strings. Very interesting chords. Now I'm going to duplicate it into the synth pad to add a different dynamic, and I'm going to lower it an octave. And the choir. In fact, I'll leave it there. So we're going to need some automation because we need that to dip out. So I want all of those automation points, and I want them to start there. And then I'm going to go there too. Okay, so that's the chorus with the strings, choir, and synth pad. Now I'm going to write a lead line over the top of that, I think. What I'll normally do is find a synth that's a lead synth. That will do. And then we need to actually pick a lead that sounds good rather than that. A dreadful lead. That is mint, to be fair. So we're going to play with this. That sounded really good. That sounds really, really good. And there is basically the chorus riff done. So that's how I approach writing a riff or a section using the rhythm as the basis. And if you want to know how I achieved a heavy guitar tone to write all of these things with, then check out this video. But otherwise, thanks for watching.